This assignment is wanting us to look at Canadian news. So again, this assignment, you might be thinking, this sure seems like a social studies assignment. And yes, maybe it is, but I just want to get you to do this assignment to make sure you know how to access information, reliable information on the internet. And I want to make sure you understand the difference between reliable information and information that is not accurate. So essentially, we often call that fake news. So for this assignment, there are a couple definitions at the top. The first one is headline. So a headline is typically a heading at the top of an article or a page, often in a newspaper, some kind of publication, or often a magazine. People often refer to it as a front page headline. So often headlines are in bigger font, in bold font, something that'll catch the reader's attention and make them interested in the article. The next definition is fake news. So fake news currently can be seen all over, especially in social media. It's also known as junk news, hoax news, pseudo news. It's a form of news consisting of deliberate disinformation or hoaxes. So often this will be spread via the internet. We don't read a lot of printed copies of anything anymore, but it can be obviously produced and printed. Typically fake news can be so easily seen in the ads on Instagram, the stories on your Snapchat when you just click on the stories that you can watch, not the ones produced by your friends, but I guess they could be fake news too, but the ones that are actually on there as Snapchat advertisements, that is full of fake news as well. Also, Facebook has advertisements on there, which is full of fake news. There's often stories on there that people post and people share that are from not reliable sources. I don't use Twitter myself, but Twitter also is known to have fake news. People post onto their, or they tweet onto their stories. So this next part is asking you to use some type of device. So you can use your phone, your tablet, your computer. And we want you to go to this website, www.ctvnews.ca. So this news site is a reliable news site. It is a Canadian news broadcasting company that does produce reliable information. And then you just need to follow what it is asking of us. So it says, go to the link above, ctvnews.ca, and find 3 news stories currently impacting Canada today. Please make sure that you select Canadian news stories and not world news stories. If you want, you can select CTV News Regina and read about local events and write about them here. So then you just need to fill this out. It's very straightforward. So we will go to what it has asked of us, www.ctvnews.ca. Now, ctvnews.ca, it is a very fluid website, meaning it is constantly changing. If you go back to this website in 10 minutes from now, the main page may look entirely different. It might not, but as news stories get written and published on here, it will change. It will continuously update to the top stories. So if we go back to our assignment, it says part 2, response, first headline. So what you need to do first is you need to actually pick a news article. So if you go onto ctvnews.ca and just scroll, you will see lots and lots and lots of stories. Now, like I said, these are constantly changing, and as more important and up-to-date news comes, these stories will start to get filtered toward the bottom. So you just need to pick any Canadian news story. I'm going to pick one of the top ones here. This one right here. So this was published today at 10:48, so only 6 minutes ago. And it says, Prime Minister Trudeau, Health Minister holding COVID-19 update. So, the nice thing about this one is that if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it by just clicking on the arrow. Often there's a write-up usually that follows as well. This one looks like it's a developing news story. It's very short, but that's just fine. There's the main information. But like I said, most of these have something you can watch as well. So if we go back to our assignment, the headline, it wants you to write down. So what is the title of the article? So the title is Prime Minister Trudeau, Health Minister holding COVID-19 update. So that's where you would write that. Then all you need to do is make sure you've read or viewed, so listen to the article, and then respond to these questions. Number 1, briefly explain what this story is about. Number 2, where in Canada is this story having the biggest impact? So is this story affecting all of Canada? Is this story affecting just Regina, just Toronto, just Montreal? Where is it? Which location is it affecting and why? What kind of impact is it having? Number 3, do you feel that this story is newsworthy? So is it important that people know this news, or is it news that it's totally irrelevant and we don't care? Usually if it's on a credible website like CTV News, it is information that they want the public to know. So it is important information. When you're done those 3 questions, you need to pick another article, a totally different article from that same website, and do the exact same thing. Answer the exact same questions. Then you need to do it one more time. You need to do it 3 times in total. Then to finish off, we have a paragraph answer. So for this paragraph answer, it wants you to respond to the idea of fake news. So it says, fake news is very common throughout social media and the internet, despite news reporters doing their best to give out accurate and informative information. In a paragraph of 5 to 8 full sentences, please tell me why fake news is so toxic. How can the media ensure that the news they report is accurate and does not get skewed? So, toxic. Toxic means bad. So, please tell me why fake news is so bad. Why is it not good to spread things that aren't true? How can the media ensure that the news they report is accurate, so is correct, and does not get skewed? So how can the media ensure that the news they report is true and the information isn't getting changed along the way to make it untrue, essentially? So I want you to respond. You can consider some of the ideas I talked about at the beginning on what fake news is and why it is so bad, and some of the media, social media outlets we find fake news, such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. And do your best to respond in 5 to 8 sentences, please.